So Kevin, a big pivotal moment for many companies is leadership change. So how do organisations make the most of leadership changes?
Yeah, leadership changes are really a challenging moment for organizations, and many organizations do not put the legwork in to set the organization itself up for success. The reason for that is it instantly creates uncertainty. There's going to be change, right? Is the new leader going to bring in a whole set of people and get rid of the people that the old leader had? Happens all the time, and people are very aware of that. What if the new leader has a completely different mindset that's culturally very different for the organization? So one thing you can do is actually think about how you're going to communicate to the people within that leader's organization what it actually means. You know, without rubbishing the past, say we're bringing in a person who's going to really help us all succeed together. So set up that new leader as a force for positive change, as opposed to this kind of figure of potential threat. You know, you can't predict the future, but you can certainly say to people that this is a positive change for the organization that we're making very intentionally.
So Kevin, we know that in successful organisations, leadership teams provide clarity and direction to their people. How do you start that process of aligning people and getting every single member of the leadership team on the same page?
Yeah, it's a big challenge, and I think it's unnecessarily complicated sometimes. It really comes back to asking really simple questions, like, what are we doing, why are we doing it, and how are we going to do it? So what, why, and how is a really nice framework, and if you can answer it simply and clearly so that everybody in the organization, from the custodian staff all the way up to the executive team, can answer that question, you're in a good place. Really importantly, align it to your brand. So many organizations make the mistake of, we're driving all these changes and we're trying to align our leadership team, and they talk about everything in the world about finance and markets and customers and suppliers, and they don't mention the brand. So my other advice would be answer the questions, but filter it through the lens of your brand. It's a great opportunity to drive the positioning of your organization. So Chris, a subject near and dear to both of our hearts: how do I build employee understanding and belief in the vision of the business?
It's so important. So a new CEO or a leader comes into the organisation, and in their heads they have a clearly defined picture of where they want that organisation to be in 2, 3, 5 years' time. But how do you translate that, and how do you communicate that to 2,000, 5,000, 50, 500,000 people? It can be overwhelming, I think, for leaders, but actually there are some really simple hints and tips to follow. I think one of the things we always say is the greatest illusion of communication is that it's happened. And I think repetition here is so important. So we see sometimes leaders communicating their vision via a town hall and thinking it's job done. You have to repeat it again and again and again. And one of the key things that we find works really well is connect your vision to absolutely everything. So whether you're talking about succession planning, whether you're talking about customer attraction, whether you're talking about bringing new talent into the business, how does that ultimately ladder up to and connect to your vision? So people can start to join the dots in their head, and it starts to become embedded and understood within the organization. The other thing that I would say as well is make it personal. I think visions can often come across as being full of corporate jargon or buzzwords or acronyms. Talk about why the vision is important to you. Ground it in your personal experiences. Tell stories around it. That's what lands within the organization. A lot of B2B communications can be very dry, and they don't grab people, they don't inspire people. So talk about your vision in really simple human terms that will connect and be relevant to people right across your business, in a way that they can embrace it and start to think about, well, what does this mean to me? How can I contribute to this?
And you know, Chris, you said something there that really resonates with me, which is the idea of repetition. I cannot tell you how many times we've been with organizations that do a communication campaign and say, well, we already said that. It's interesting because we just did a CMO study about the role of the CMO in change programs and in internal culture. And what's really interesting is a CMO knows that you have to touch somebody with a message 7 times in certain industries, 11 times in certain industries, 13 times to get them to listen to your message. But suddenly, inside the organization, we send one email or put up a poster and expect everybody to understand it. So it's a huge challenge, and I know you've run into this problem as well, where we are constantly telling clients, you need to keep saying this over and over again, and it's going to feel repetitious. But think of yourself as a consumer. How many times do you have to be shown a piece of communications or engage with something before you actually make any kind of behavior change? or make a change relating to it.
I think that's fantastic points, Kevin. And I'll just add a couple of pieces to that as well. I think where we've seen organisations land a vision or a strategy really, really well is by taking the time and giving their people space to think about it, talk about it, and reflect on what it means to them. So don't just broadcast it as top-down communications. Yes, you need to do that to drive awareness, but to build real understanding and build real action into this, think about the spaces that you can create for people to have those conversations, and think about the planning that they can do that connects back to that vision. That could be as simple as a team meeting. The final thing I would say on vision as well is think about how you can meet people where they are. So too often in organisations, we put broadcast communications out and we expect people to look at it, understand it, absorb it, and act on it. But people are so busy in their day-to-day lives. They've got so much on. They've got client pressures, they've got personal pressures. So think about people in the organisation and think about the moments that you can intervene and start to inject the vision into there. And that could be really simple. That could be on the intranet where they're downloading a document. Could you put some content around the vision then that relates back to it?
And I'm going to build on that even further. We talk a lot about how vision can feel very detached from the reality of day-to-day work, and how values can feel very detached from day-to-day work. And a lot of it comes down to psychological safety at work. What are the conversations you can have in your organization in order to make sure that the vision is maintained? And I'm not going to say the name of the organization, but I did work with a European telecoms company that really took it to heart, and they built a culture of trust where people could call it when they see it. And for a European organization, what we did is we actually gave them cards, yellow card and a red card that had the values printed on them. And they would literally in meetings take out a yellow card and say, hang on a minute, that doesn't feel like us. Yellow card, or even a red card, it's like that is right out of line. And I remember that over time, the print had worn off the cards, and it was just such a great example that they were using them, that there was enough psychological safety and trust in the organization that the CFO would pull a red card on the CEO. And that's where you want to get to.